Welcome back, Dr. Derrickson. We know you've been very, very busy the past couple 3 weeks now. I guess it is since the blink occurred, and I know that the study's well underway, and that you've amassed an awful lot of information. That a lot of people have come in and been interviewed and submitted their sudden recollections, as it were. I guess that's an appropriate term. These sudden flashes,
for lack of a better word, we'll call it a recollection.
Yeah. So this type of thing is very difficult, especially for a layman such as I, to assign terminology to. You being a scientist and a researcher can probably inform the public in a much better way than I can with better terminology. But what exactly have we determined about what may have existed, what the previous universe may have been like?
Well, first,
what do we know?
Let me say first, this is all new ground for us.
Yes.
This is new territory we have never experienced before. We've never heard of anything like this. We've never experienced this. So there is no terminology. There isn't. If I correct anything that you say, it's because the word memory implies something that they are, it's something of their recollection that they've experienced. However,
yes,
technically they have not experienced this.
I understand.
That's the issue with this. Now, in regards to their perception that they have, because in their mind they've experienced this, but it is not them, so to speak.
How are you able to rule this out as not being some sort of mass hallucination? I mean, a lot of the experiences they're having seems to be so common. They have common memories among them,
which is very strange. However, we've seen this one time before with dimethyltryptamine. The use of dimethyltryptamine. People had unrelated people that have never met, discussed anything before, had an almost identical experience. So this is along the same lines. And this is why we don't just disregard it completely, because 340 people, 340 or so, are adamant in that there was a serial killer.
Yes.
Who claimed over 30 lives.
And yet we know that there's no record of a homicide here in the past decade.
For 10 years, there has not been any record of a homicide. And yet people that have never talked to each other, people that have no common anything,
they've never met. Most of them, they're not
completely separate, have nothing shared.
Yes.
Have the same thought. And it's adamant and driving, and it's all encompassing. They can't think of anything else because it's almost like it's almost like a paradigm shift. It's like a full shift in a zeitgeist. It's like the whole lot of people, all of them, have started seeing things, thinking things, or recollecting, which is a terrible word to use, but we will use it for lack of a better term. In addition
to the serial killings, what are some of the other things that these people seem to think they're seeing or recalling, or whatever the term may be?
Senators that have been president, that have never been president. There are entities, and I don't like to use the word biological for this, but we have to at the time. But a biological entity called Flashy the Paper Doll, which scientifically makes no sense whatsoever.
Yes,
but they believe that there was an entity, and it could be. I mean, we could really go into some paranormal or some psyche aspects with that, but we're not going to. We're going to stay right here where we can really understand as well as we possibly can, anyway.
Yeah, I was glancing at some of the reports this morning, and it appears there was also some kind of a wooden creature that they keep claiming. Do you think the two creatures are somehow related, and do you think these were possibly artificially created life forms, or do you think they're naturally occurring, just simply not naturally occurring in our universe?
No. However, each universe of the multiverse could have its own parameters. It could have its own natural laws, which we know nothing about. Again, this is all new territory. This is like a child going into a new room and who's never seen any of these objects before. We have no idea. We can base it on nothing. We have no previous research done whatsoever, because this is all new. It's very exciting. It's very exciting, by the way. It's all new territory. Now, these other universes, which this is what I'm going to label them for now because we don't know. It seems plausible, however impossible it might be. Now, these other universes, they could very well have their own rules and laws. And if we are experiencing some shift or some merger in the dimensions or in the universes, it's possible that these people are gaining memories that they have never had before, and which, by the way, would be significant brain damage. It would be. We might see a lot of issues with this. These people might be suffering a great deal in reality.
Indeed, there may be a neurological aspect.
Absolutely. I would think if they are gaining memories, and it's in mass, they're gaining memories in mass, and all of a sudden, and this all started at the same time, and it all coincides with the blip, with the skipping of the universe. The universe skipping a beat, or whatever we can call it to easily explain it. It's almost inexplicable. That's why it's difficult. We could wax philosophical all day long and get nowhere.
Is there any danger of this blip or blink occurring again? And if it did, would things revert back to however they were, or are we permanently in whatever this is that we may now be in?
Because we haven't experienced it before, there's no telling. Unfortunately, all of your hypotheses are plausible. Everything you're saying could happen. We could all go to nothingness if the next blip occurs, or we could go back to the way it was.
Dr. Derrickson, is there any way to scientifically predict when the next blip might occur, or if there ever will be one?
Once we have a better understanding of what the blip was and why, then there will be. As of now, certainly not.
Well, should people panic, or should they just go ahead and go on about their lives as normal and just try not to think about this? Or what advice would you give to the general public? I mean, it's causing nearly a mass hysteria now.
I would urge people to calm down, to not worry. I realize that it's frightening, it's terrifying. They're waking up one day with memories of something that's never occurred. However, it is having no effect on their life whatsoever other than psychological.
Yes.
No one has been killed. People are coming forward, luckily. And we urge all of you, please come forward. Let us know what is happening. It will be well documented, and it will aid us immensely in discovering what's going on. But I would say do not worry until there is a reason. We have yet to experience the reason to worry. It could get catastrophic. It could be nothing. It could blip and revert back, and people have no memory whatsoever of any of this. And until we experience that or find out more about what it is, was, and could be, I would say continue to live your life. Just have the knowledge of these events on top of everything else.
Well, Dr. Derrickson, again, I want to thank you for calming and reassuring the public, and for being our guest here tonight. And as this, shall we say, study pursues, and as more people come forward, we'd like to have you back as a guest in the near future.
It'd be my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Derrickson.